It's a warning.
Nemesis at Alton Towers Resort originally opened back in 1994 and was the first B&M inverted roller coaster to open within Europe, following the opening of the first ever B&M invert, Batman the Ride, in the United States. John Wardley, the designer of the Nemesis concept and layout, had tried out the original B&M inverted coaster before deciding this would be the perfect ride to bring to the Alton Towers Resort. Nemesis has operated continuously for nearly 30 years without a single hitch, proving the reliability of B&M coasters. Nemesis is an intense ride, and this isn't a coaster for the faint of heart. It really pulls some G-force, and certain areas of the track have certainly taken a battering over the years. In fact, we have already seen work carried out on some smaller sections of track, particularly around the loop and the helix sections of the ride. It was also becoming more common to see Nemesis being inspected heavily during the close season, and even sometimes during the park's main season. Nemesis is an iconic ride, one which is loved by many and still widely regarded as one of the best steel roller coasters out there. In recent years, the future of Nemesis has certainly been on the minds of many Alton Towers fans. As John Wardley had previously said, any part of the Nemesis ride can be replaced at any time, and so long as fans continue riding Nemesis, there is no reason why the ride would be removed by the park. You also have to bear in mind the unique location of Nemesis. It's buried into a quarry in the ground, and this isn't something which can easily be covered over, and so it would be very costly to repurpose the Nemesis site. Earlier this year, Alton Towers submitted an application for a certificate of lawfulness for construction work to be carried out on the Nemesis site. It was at this stage that we got to see the first plans for the retracking of the ride. And there is also a full news video covering the details on our channel, so I'd recommend that you go and check out that video for the full information on the retracking. However, in brief, the work taking place on Nemesis will see a full replacement of the track from the crest of the lift hill right up until the final brake run. There is also some small alterations to the supports in high stress areas, and many of the supports will be fully replaced on the ride. The ride's electronic control systems will be upgraded, and the ride's foundations are also going to be receiving some TLC in certain areas. It is believed that the station will also receive a revamp. It is believed at the moment that it is unlikely that the original trains will be kept, and so we are expecting that the trains will be fully replaced. However, we don't have 100% confirmation at the moment. So it was in September 2022 when the Alton Towers Resort officially began their marketing campaign for the Nemesis retrack. Banners appeared across the park stating that Nemesis will be closing by order of the Phalanx. The Phalanx is of course the military group who were first mentioned in the original Nemesis comics. The group were later heavily featured in the 2012 Nemesis Subterra attraction. Since then we have not heard much more. Of course, at first the park didn't mention anything about the retrack or the refurbishments within their announcement, which was very likely intentional as people began to believe that the coaster would be removed for good. The park later clarified that the ride would be closing for an extensive refurbishment, and the coaster will of course reopen in time for the 2024 season, which is also the 30th anniversary of Nemesis. The hype was certainly building for the closure, and during Scarefest 2022, bright red lighting was added around the ride, and the staff were also given red Phalanx uniforms. Alton Towers eventually announced that there would be a special announcement from the Phalanx on Sunday the 6th of November 2022. At this point there was further speculation around the park, and some people believed that the announcement could be linked to Nemesis Subterra, as well as the closure of the Nemesis roller coaster itself. By the way, I have done a full video on Nemesis Subterra, so it's certainly worth checking that out as well. On Sunday the 6th of November, at the end of the Alton Towers fireworks display, a video was played from Phalanx HQ confirming the closure of the ride that very evening.
A public announcement from the Phalanx regarding Nemesis to follow.
By order of the Phalanx, as you may or may not be aware, Nemesis is closing due to her abnormal behavior. Today, as our investigation begins, we can assure you we have our most experienced team involved. Nemesis is a complex beast, and it's in our interest to protect her well-being. I'm sure you'll join me in remembering what's been an iconic presence in many of our lives. For now, though, we must say good night, Nemesis. We'll be taking no further questions.
Around the coaster, a white lab tent was set up and many of the buildings within Forbidden Valley were locked down and sealed. Phalanx operatives could be seen roaming the area, spraying disinfectant and analysing samples from the Nemesis creature itself. Overall, the park did an excellent job of creating this amazing atmosphere for the closure of one of their most loved rides. John Wardley, the ride's designer, was also on site that evening. Several fans had won a competition to take a ride on the final Nemesis train, with both John Wardley, the ride's original designer, and John Burton, who is the creative lead for the refurbishment project on Nemesis. It was certainly a night to remember, and large amounts of fans were gathered for the final ever Nemesis train on the ride's original circuit.
You join me live from Alton Towers Resort, where I can confirm Nemesis, one of the world's most famous roller coasters, is closed. For those of you who aren't aware, Nemesis has been contained for over 28 years by secret organisation, the Phalanx. As of today, however, due to her abnormal behaviour, the Phalanx have closed Nemesis and started their investigation. Kate Cox, lead scientist for the Phalanx, has yet to comment. And any information we do have came from a recent public announcement from the Phalanx.
Today, as our investigation begins, we can assure you we have our most experienced team involved. For now, though, we must say good night, Nemesis.
Speculation mounts that the abnormal behaviour of Nemesis coincides with the recruitment of new head of the Phalanx, John Dalton. And allegations of inside corruption continue to circulate, hinting there could be more to this story than meets the eye. For now, that's it from me, live from Alton Towers Resort.
So, the park certainly hasn't wasted any time, and the dismantling of Nemesis is now fully underway. We knew that the park had begun the process of stripping down the Nemesis trains already, as the ride's wheel covers were spotted laying on the ground near the maintenance building on the ride. However, over the last few days, work has now begun on the ride's track itself, and several track sections have been spotted in the Alton Towers car park. A crane has also been on site nearly every day this week, continuing to remove track sections from the famous roller coaster. At the moment, it does seem as though the main focus is removing the track sections towards the end of the ride, and it would appear that the ride's final barrel roll before the brake run has already been removed, along with various track sections right up until the very end of the ride. At the moment, the park do seem to be taking good care of the ride's track sections. They have been seen being placed carefully onto pallets in the car park. There doesn't appear to be any damage to any of the track sections, apart from one section which has had a small piece of rail removed from the actual track spine. This video from Theme Park Worldwide shows one of the huge pieces of track being lifted from the coaster today, and there are various photos online from both Towers Times and Tower Street. I'd certainly recommend giving their pages a follow for all of the latest updates. And with the Alton Towers Resort now open for their yearly Christmas event, there's bound to be plenty more updates from the resort over the coming weeks. At the moment, it is very unclear what the park are actually planning to do with the ride's removed track, whether this will be sold in the shop or whether it's simply going to be scrapped. We just don't know at this point. But of course what we do know is that the track is going to be replaced with completely new sections straight from the B&M factory. A recent photo has also emerged on Twitter showing what would appear to be a replacement section of track for the ride, which is waiting to be painted and then sent over to the UK before it heads over to Alton Towers. These are certainly very exciting times for Alton Towers fans, and I'm sure like me many people are extremely excited to see how this project turns out and what changes will be made to the ride. You have to remember that there is a creative director for the refurbishment. Could we be seeing a new station, a new soundtrack, maybe permanent lighting around the ride at night, or even a pre-show? Anything is possible for this refurbishment. We will be sure to keep the channel updated as we receive new information surrounding the retracking works, so please don't forget to subscribe so that you don't miss any of our updates. And as always, thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy today's video, please don't forget to leave the video a like rating and let me know your thoughts in the comments down below.